My name is Alex Amancio, Creative Director on Assassin's Creed Unity, and you're watching Eurogamer.
Greetings gamers, Ian Higton here with some shiny nuggets of Assassin's Creed Unity info for you to absorb into your lovely little head holes. At this year's Gamescom in Germany, Ubisoft showed off a new type of mission called a black box mission, which essentially gives the player a small sandbox area to play in, a set objective, in the case of this footage an assassination, and then the player has to use their wits and imagination to complete the mission in his or her own way. A nice product of that is replayability, with each mission completable in a variety of different ways, which is nice.
Make one.
After watching the demo, I managed to corner Alex Amancio, the game's creative director, for a little chat. First up, Alex, I was really impressed with the fluidity of Arnaud's movements as he parkoured around the environments. He would add little twists and turns as he dismounted from walls, with some extra little flourishes here and there that made the traversal seem a lot smoother and cooler than in previous games.
We wanted to make changes, but not only under the hood. It needed to be felt in the controller. So our parkour has been completely redone, right? It allows for more freedom, for more flexibility in terms of the moves you can make, as you mentioned, and also for more flow. We really wanted to favor flow state because flow is often associated with fun, right? And this new parkour system really opened up the door for a new type of parkouring, which we call parkour down. So now through input, you can actually, hold, for example, right trigger in A and parkour up. If you hold the B button, you're actually going to parkour down, which opens a complete new axis of parkour for the player. How you achieve that, those moves, is really contextual to the architecture. So if you're actually just going down a flat building, it'll be more choppy. It'll still be fluid, but it won't look as nice. But if you really learn how to spot those architectural elements and bounce off of them, you can really do spectacular moves.
Recently, a screenshot went around Twitter that showed Arnaud stood on top of a building with huge amounts of HUD elements dotted around the screen. This attracted some criticism from gamers and critics alike, who believed it made the game look ugly and far too busy, potentially ruining the immersion. Is this something that's going to stay in the game? Is it something you are planning on changing or toning down, or have people simply misunderstood the context?
So that was a work in progress element. That is in the game, but it doesn't exactly look like that. Plus, it's triggered by you. So the idea is that when you're up on the rooftops, we always compare the assassin on the rooftops like the eagle circling its prey high above. The eagle can spot everything. It actually, finds its targets, its prey. Same thing with the assassin when you're on the rooftops. This is why we have no guards on rooftops, unless contextually in the story there should be guards on rooftops. We want you to access them and plan from the rooftops. So whenever you're on the rooftops, there's a button you can trigger that actually will have objects appear contextually 3D in the map. It's not everything. What we're showing you is stuff that has direct bearing on your strategy. Hide spots. For example, you have alarm bells, stuff like that. Things that will directly affect the way you are going to complete a mission. This is to give you strategy.
God only gets 10. Who the hell does Sivert think he is?
Let's talk a little bit about the game world now. I hear it has its own ecosystem, populated by intelligent AIs that interact with each other in a variety of ways.
The game is set in the Revolution, right? The French Revolution. It was really important to bring the Revolution to life with huge crowds. We have about 5,000 on-screen NPCs. And then the crowd is actually deeper than it seems. They have interactions amongst themselves. They actually have different stimuli that can have them do different things. They're actually affected by throwing a smoke bomb or a money pouch, stuff like that, as we did have before, but it just goes one step further in terms of its realization. The game world is actually made up also of 3 different factions. You have guards. These are the National Guard. They act as the police. You just don't do anything reprehensible in front of them and they'll leave you alone. Then we have these political extremists that just walk around and they start harassing people, you included. Just keep away from them, but if you pick a fight with them, sometimes the third faction, which is the crowd, will actually help you. And they'll draw weapons and, it really creates a really cool, sandboxy, very emergent environment for players.
I noticed while playing that you have finally given players a crouch button for their assassin, finally replacing the old system where you could only crouch when entering undergrowth or cover. Is this something you added due to fan feedback?
This is something that we've been talking about for a while, and what we wanted to do is, Assassin's Creed has always been intended to be a social stealth game. And the thing is that people will often or always follow the path of least resistance, and if that happens to be fight, then every mission will end in fight. So we made fight a lot harder, which meant that we needed to make stealth deeper and more accessible. Stealth mode is part of it. Now you can actually get into stealth mode, which is like a crouch position, makes you more silent, makes you more agile, and allows you to have access to our cover system, where you can actually snap into cover alongside of a wall, of a crate, stuff like that. We also changed the way NPCs perceive you. Now they actually have a line of sight. They can lose sight of you and you get that position. Then you can actually play with that line of sight, create ambushes for the guards. So everything was done that we could do to make stealth more accessible and more tweakable and much more a deeper mechanic, we did.
Okay, and finally, Alex, let's talk about another change to the classic AC gameplay, the brand new fight system.
Our fight system is has been redone from the ground up. We wanted to make it more challenging. We wanted to make it more challenging because we feel that if it's too easy, then it'll always end in fight. We want people to actually try to stealth their way through it. They can still fight if they want. I mean, this is up to the player, and this is part of what we want to do with Unity, is to really let players complete missions the way they want to complete them. That being said, the way fight is more complex and more and a deeper mechanic, it's more like of a rock, paper, scissors type mechanic now. So, hit, dodge, parry, block. You can no longer automatic counter your way out of a fight, and enemies no longer wait for their turn. If there's over 2 enemies, the third one is probably going to grab a gun and try to shoot you. So part of the strategy in fight is keeping each guard busy by destabilizing them, preventing them from cohesively ganging up on you. Once you're actually facing a guard, you have to analyze which weapon is he using. If you're facing a heavy axe, maybe blocking might not be the best idea. Maybe moving out of the way, using that extra half a second because of the heavy axe swing to actually hit your target, right? If the enemy is using a rapier, for example, then block might be the best thing, and then a quick counter. So really, it's up to the player analyzing his enemy, the type of weapon he's facing, and then adjusting his combat. Plus, we also give you a systemic way of actually disappearing. By systemic, what I mean is there's ways of disappearing that can be ingredient-based, a haystack or a hide spot. What we wanted to do is do that, but something that you can actually access with a button. So, for example, we have many, but you have the smoke bomb. Our smoke bomb is not like a little fizz of smoke where the guards just cough. It's actually thick smoke that covers the screen, right? So it blocks line of sight. You throw a smoke bomb and you vanish.
Lovely stuff. Thanks for chatting to us, Alex. Now, I was actually a little bit worried about AC Unity when I first heard about it. I'd been hit by a bit of franchise fatigue, and by the time AC3 rolled around, I was just totally bored and over it all, but AC4 really shook up the formula and got me interested again. At first glance, Unity, to me at least, looked like a bit of a step backwards, but the addition of the black box missions, which sound rather like something you would have in a Hitman game, might just add a bit of extra spice and welcome replayability to the proceedings. All the extra gameplay tweaks won't hurt the new game either, and of course the co-op will open up a number of exciting gameplay opportunities. Basically, what I'm saying is, the more of the game I see, the further away I get from writing it off, and that is a very good thing. Right, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me and Alex for the entire length of the video. If you enjoyed what you watched, make sure to give this vid a thumbs up. It's really appreciated if you do. And as always, make sure to subscribe to Eurogamer for plenty more exclusive interviews, early gameplay previews, and much, much more. Now, it's at this point that if I was on camera, I'd drop a smoke bomb and run off. But I'm not, so you'll just have to imagine it happened. Poof!